Hey guys, today we're going to talk about volumetric shading, and we're going to try to mimic what volumetric shading is. It's basically taking a flat circle into a sphere using shading, and we're going to be using our brush for this. And we're going to concentrate mainly on the core shadow, the highlight, and everything else is pretty much going to be done for us. So let's get into this. I'm going to start a new file. I'm going to create a circle selection. But first I'm going to pull this in for reference. Pull this image in for reference, just so we can have some kind of reference for, and while we're doing this, I'm going to make a new layer and use the elliptical marquee. Make a circle by holding shift, and I'm going to find a color that I like to fill that in. Probably going to edge towards the yellow orange range. Very saturated. Notice that throughout this process, this is very important, I'm going to keep my marquee selection. I'm never going to deselect until I'm done. It's not that important, but while you work, it's very important, because as we shade this with our brush tool, notice I have a soft brush, and I'm going to scale this soft brush up, and I'm also going to lower my opacity up at the top in the options bar. So I'm going to aim for a teen number, really low, so that way I can work very efficiently and take my time shading. There's my large brush, and I'm just going to start shading. Notice that it's going to start to mimic the reference picture that we have. All of those shadows, from the mid-tone to the core shadow, even the cast shadow, everything is on this curve. So make sure that when you do start to paint, that you brush in this curving motion. I'm going to just replicate the cast shadow of sorts just to show you how it's done. I just sampled some of that color. In fact, if you hold down Option, your brush changes into a eyedropper tool, and you can sample colors. I'm going to move to D and default colors and paint in black some more, and I'm also going to paint in white right here. I just hit X, and I'm painting in white for that highlight, and this is starting to look pretty good. I'm getting some of that, a lot of that core shadow and midtones. That the reflected light is still there, so I'm happy with that. We don't necessarily have to do reflected light, because reflected light and cast shadows are on surfaces. Like if this sphere was sitting on a surface, a tabletop or something, I'm applying a pattern overlay with my layer effects. Remember that whenever you choose a pattern overlay, to always adjust your scale. And I always like to adjust opacity as well. I don't want to bump these up so high that it becomes obnoxious. I think when students see effects that you can add to, they tend to like bump up your percentages really high. So I caution you to keep it subtle and effective, otherwise it's obnoxious and distracting. So I'm happy with that, but I'm gonna come back. I just hit Command and selected my thumbnail, and remember that doing that, and this allows us to select the object and then shade it some more. So you may find that after you've created your pattern overlay that some of the shading has gone away. I chose overlay as my blending mode, and some of my shading went away, so I'm just touching up my shading, and I'm a lot happier with that. I've deselected, which is Command D, and now I'm going to make a new layer and do the exact same process. I'm going to fill in that layer. I'm going to apply volumetric shading using the brush, apply a pattern overlay, and adjust it until I like it, maybe touch it up, and I'm going to keep doing examples exactly like that. So have fun with this process. Remember that each of our class exercises always build up to a project. So we're going to do a space and cosmic themed project next. So be looking for that shortly. On this last sphere, I'm going to apply a drop shadow because I feel like it would be really nice to show some spatial arrangement, more so these planets that are overlapping each other, or these spheres. So I want to apply a drop shadow that has a drop shadow appearing on this yellow planet, and I'm just adjusting this distance and opacity and even the size and spread just until I like it. I want it to be subtle, so I'm not going to be blatant about it, but I kind of like that effect of this planet casting a shadow on another one. I thought it looked kind of cool. So try that out. Again, it is not only a pattern overlay, but we've also applied this drop shadow too, so we can stack as many layer effects as we want in order to get a little bit more realism. Have fun with this. We'll see you next time. Take care, guys.